Eighth grade, yeah. You did it. Who's pumped? I'm pumped. Are you pumped? Are you pumped? I'm pumped. Woo! Eighth grade, yeah. Okay, sorry, I just had to get that out of my system. Okay, I know what'll help. A poem by Dr. Seuss. Congratulations. Today is your day. You're off to great places. You're off and away. You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer your... No, that just doesn't feel right. That doesn't feel right. I know what will get this speech off its feet. Something we all know and love, yeah? Audience participation. Easy. Raise your hand if the statement applies, okay? Who here is graduating? Okay, great, it worked. Who here is gonna miss hot lunches? Yeah, they were good. Who here is glad they made it to summer vacation? Who here is nervous for what's ahead? Maybe even a bit terrified. Yeah, that's okay, you can raise your hand. I gotta admit, it's been 10 years, and that answer hasn't really changed all that much for me. I'm still pretty scared. But I'm here, aren't I? I showed up. Let me tell you how I did it. First of all, I can tell you something I'm definitely not gonna do, which is stand here and tell you I have all the answers, because I don't. I'm still figuring it out day by day. I didn't drive here in my Lamborghini. There are no Grammys on display in my multi-million-dollar mansion yet. And I can assure you, it's still gonna take a few years for that whole husband and kids thing. What I do know is that I am exactly where I'm meant to be, and everything is going according to plan. I just realized I haven't even really properly introduced myself. My apologies. My name is Monica Rosenblatt, class of 2009, and Harford Day School was my home for 9 years. What some of you probably don't know about me is that I was actually extremely popular. So much so that every girl invited me over for a sleepover every weekend. It was honestly so overwhelming. Who do I choose? And every boy asked me to dance. I kid you not. #goals. That statue of the dragon out front that we all know and love is actually me in a dragon costume. That's how popular I was. If you don't believe me, Google it. Kidding. I'm actually just rather dramatic, it turns out. I did get lucky, though, I won't lie. I knew what I loved early on. I developed a passion for music and acting from a very young age, and I knew it was my calling. I just did. But that didn't make it any easier. I didn't know what to do with all of this passion, where to take it, how to use it, who to show it to. Would anyone even care? That's where the luck comes in. My teachers at Harford Day cared. My talents and passions mattered to them. My friends and even the classmates I wasn't that close with cheered me on. I was allowed to be whoever I wanted to be, however I saw myself. I joined the field hockey team, the lacrosse team, the soccer team, and the basketball team. Now, basketball was my sport for sure, but those other ones? They weren't my strongest suits. I mainly joined them to stay with my friends after school and to be in the yearbook photo. Sorry, Miss Farrell. But you know, she didn't even seem that bothered that I wasn't constantly making contact with ball and stick. She always put me in the game. And we're good Facebook friends now, so that must mean she still likes me. Harford Day is still the place in my life and career thus far where I feel the most supported. Harford Day truly set me up for the ride of a lifetime. After this day in 8th grade, nothing dramatic changed overnight. I woke up the next morning and my braces were still there. There was also that new uniform, NDP, that I was gonna have to start wearing. Now, when I was at school at HCS, we had a dress code, but not a uniform, so the thought of wearing the same thing every day, where would my identity go, and how do I spice up this uniform? Fast forward through the summer of 2009, take a fisheye lens, and you'll spot me standing in my fresh new saddle shoes, blue maid's uniform with pink and green bands on my braces in the parking lot of ShopRite. I'm getting my picture taken with some acquaintances and one best friend who were now going to be my new carpool for the next 2 to 4 years of high school, depending on who got their license first. I remember feeling out of place, doggy paddling, scared, and headed towards a big old sign that read, "Unknown territory, No lifeguards ahead. Proceed at your own risk. But it did not really feel like I had a choice. I couldn't very well hijack the minivan, pick up some McDonald's, and head for the West Coast. I had to go to my first day of high school. Now, if I tell you a life lesson, promise to act surprised. This feeling didn't only happen on that first day of high school. It happened before I sang my first big solo in sophomore year. It happened when I took my driver's test. It happened at my first audition for college. Yes, as a musical theater major, I not only had to apply, but I also had to audition. It happened when I moved into my first apartment in Boston, and then again when I moved to New York. It happened when I had my first big audition for Broadway, and it continues to happen on random days when I think maybe it'd just be nice to start over somewhere totally new. Maybe it'd be easier, where no one knows my name or my history, and I can just reinvent myself somehow. I totally plan to move to the West Coast sometime soon, but not on those terms. Not because I'm running away from something I'm scared of, but instead running towards something I want more than anything. That feeling of fear, that fear of the unknown, that cold feet feeling, it happened to me every time I sat down to write this speech, and again just now when I stood up to the podium. What could I possibly have to say to 43 graduating 8th graders that would motivate them to get back up every time they fall? Yes, every time. Note, if I had decided to stop getting up, I'd still be on the ground somewhere not giving this speech. What could I possibly have to say to encourage them to get up again the next day, and again the next, and again the next? Why did Donna Decker email me? Did she have the right person? Maybe the Lamborghini showed up when I wasn't looking. Perhaps I've been in a coma. Was I older than I thought I was? Did Broadway call? Broadway must have called if I was being asked to give a speech at my beloved middle school. That's the kind of thing that happens in movie montages. Was this about to be a movie montage? No, this was just another prime example of Harper Day School reaching out a hand and passing me a note that read, "We believe in you and we miss you." So, class of 2019, for what it's worth, I, Monica Lee Rosenblatt, believe in you. I wish I could promise that it was all peaches and rainbows from here on out, but we both know it's not always that sweet. It being life, not high school, by the way. There are trials and there are tribulations, but we persevere. There may be odds stacked against you at times, but it's most important to remember all of the people in your corner to back you up if you fall as well. Imagine you're being held up by a string and it gets cut. You don't make the school soccer team, or you don't get that part in the play. Your best friend says something that hurts your feelings, or a teacher and you just don't seem to click. The string is cut, right? Feels like it can't be fixed. But take a mirror and look at yourself and you'll see 100 other strings to hold you up. Your family and your friends, your school, your whole support system. Not everyone is so lucky, but I was. We all are. I'll never forget how in my senior year of college, I was the only girl not cast in the spring musical. It was Titanic, and I had been called back for the lead, and then I just wasn't cast. I didn't get it. Was I not good enough to die on a sinking boat? At first, I wanted to run to the director's office screaming, "Why wasn't I cast? Why am I not good enough?" But instead, my best friend came over, and I cried to him, and we made pancakes and bought tickets to the movies and walked past Fenway Park at sunset. I wouldn't change that now, even if I could, because now it's my thing. It's a part of my story. I laugh about it now, and it totally gets its own chapter in its autobiography one day. Let me extend the metaphor a bit, though. Remember the part about the strings holding you up? The strings that represent all the good things in your life and your support system? As essential as those other strings are, there's one more essential piece to the puzzle. A foundation. A foundation of self-respect, self-worth, and self-assurance. If I were held up entirely by strings, I wouldn't be a person. I'd be a marionette. I'm an actress, not a puppet. And an actress needs a stage, a foundation. Like I said, something solid to stand on. We all do. If there's one thing I've learned to do when nothing else seems to be going my way, when all else seems to fail, it's to remind myself of my belief in my own worthiness and trust in my own abilities. It so happens that not getting cast in Titanic isn't the end of that story. At the time, it felt like the end of the world. I had put 4 years of work into a degree in musical theater, and then I wasn't in the last show of college. Every time those late night rehearsals would get brought up in class, I tried to ignore it and pretend I wasn't missing out on that much anyway, which, looking back, I wasn't. Then something else happened. The man who wrote the original Broadway show of Titanic was invited to our school to see the production. And while he was there, he sat in on a singing class. Now, this guy has won 12 Tony Awards, which is something like winning 12 Oscars or 12 Grammys or 12 NBA championships. It ain't easy. And right now, it's something I can only dream of. He heard me sing that day and he pulled me aside. He looked me straight on and he said, "You're the real deal. See you at the Tonys." And left me with a wink and a dropped jaw. Me. He had no idea I was the one girl who wasn't cast in his show. That didn't matter anymore anyway, though, because someone I respected and believed in me. His comment has stuck with me for 3 years because it reminded me of something even more important, which is that I believed in me. At the end of the day, Titanic was just the school musical, and I had my whole career ahead of me. By the time I graduated from college, I had a solid foundation to stand on. I promised myself I would move to New York before my 22nd birthday, and I got there 3 days before. I did well in our post-graduation showcase, got quite a few offers from talent agencies, signed with the one I liked best, and started waiting tables, going to all the auditions I could get to. I was dying to be in the room where it happens, and now I'm getting the chance. The rest, as they say, is history. Every time I book a job, I'm humbled and grateful, because they could have picked anybody else. Whether it's dancing backup for Lil Wayne on SNL, modeling for Macy's Fall Line, or shooting my first national commercial, I am always honored and I am always humbled. It is one thing to have talent, but another thing to have a hard work ethic. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. That motto and stay humble are the two I live by in my career. It goes without saying I am humbled to be giving this speech. Each time I'm given a shot like this, I'm reminded that someone out there believes in me, the way I now believe in all of you. I've stood here for the past few minutes looking at each of you, and I can honestly say I believe in you, and I have your back. Harford Day has your back, and it's done its job of giving you a wonderful foundation, a sturdy stage to stand on and represent yourself. I wasn't always the person you see before you, though. I was taller than all my friends, I had this crazy curly hair I didn't quite know how to style, and I always felt like I had a knack for saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. I didn't always practice the same self-love that I do these days. It's something I had to grow into. Looking back, there were so many days that I wish I had been able to love myself as fiercely as I do now. These days, I love the skin I'm in. I love the way I look and my crazy curls, and I wouldn't trade them for anything. It's a life lesson for everyone, but I want my ladies to take an extra careful listen. I've learned many times throughout life so far that people will take chances to knock you down, to pick you apart and tell you what they think when they have no right. Gentlemen, I have seen my guy friends be told not to feel their own feelings because it isn't what real men do. Well, in my opinion, real people come in all shapes and sizes. Real people aren't afraid of their emotions. Instead, they welcome them, the good and the bad, because you can't have one without the other. And real people care about everyone around them, no matter who they are. I learned that basic principle to treat everyone the way you would like to be treated, that golden rule, at Harford Day School. It was taught to us daily and posted in every school hallway on a poster with italic writing and a random nature background. But it's true. Treat others as you would like to be treated. And that goes for yourself as well. Treat yourself how you would treat your best friend or your mom or your sister, with love and care. High school can be tough. You are tougher. Finally, let me urge you to keep in touch with each other. I've talked about how lucky we all are, and it's true. You may not have 43 best friends, but you do have 43 family members. And as my mother says, you can't make old friends. Like it or not, you're probably going to be stuck with each other for the rest of your lives, but that's not a bad thing. I know not everyone here will be going to the same high school, and that can be a little bit of a scary or a sad thought. I didn't get to go to high school with some of my best friends from Harford Day, but you know what? They are sitting here in the audience today, supporting me and all of you. Hey, Veronica. Hi. Hey, Emily. Class of 2019. If you dozed off at all and you need some bullet points to remember when your mom brings me up at lunch after this, they go. 1, appreciate your support system and use it. 2, build your foundation and love yourself. 3, you can't make old friends. And 4, follow the golden rule. As a famous doctor once said, be sure when you step step with care and great tact. And remember that life's a great balancing act. Just never forget to be dexterous and deft, and never mix up your right foot from your left. And will you succeed? Yes, you will indeed. 98 and 3/4% guaranteed. Kid, you'll move mountains. Congratulations to the class of 2019, to the parents who raised you, the teachers that were there for you, and again to you. The world is waiting for you.